If you want to tell me when we're ready to go, Sandra.
Right, you're ready to go now.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everybody, councillors and members of the public. Welcome to the advisory meeting of the Planning and Development Committee, Tuesday the 18th, 6:30, held on Zoom. Our first item on our agenda is the election of a chairman for this committee. And I propose Vijay Paul to carry on as chair for the next round of the Planning and Development Committee. Oh, if that's all right with you, Vijay.
That's going to be fine. Thank you very much.
Is anyone willing to second that proposal?
I'll second that.
I'll second it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you've got everybody
I was
seconded.
going to say, everybody just seconded it then. Okay, can we have a show of hands then, please? That's across the board. Thank you very much.
Can we just say thank you to you, Angela, for what you've done over the last 12 months? You've been chair, and if Vijay needs any help, I'm sure you'll be there to assist him. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Pam. Thank you. And with that, Vijay, you are now the chair, and I will hand over to you.
Wow, easy as that.
It's as easy as that.
The novelty's not wore off yet, Vijay.
I thought I'd start in the next meeting. Anyway, no worries. Okay, so number vice chair, and I would like to nominate Nigel Brown. So who will second that nomination?
I will second that. Thank you.
Oh, it's up soon, Dan.
Do you accept, Nigel? Sorry, I should
Yes,
have
I accept. Yeah.
asked. Then can I have a show of hands on? I can't see everyone. I'm assuming it's all good. Yeah,
Yes,
all looks
absolutely.
perfect. Okay. I don't. I haven't. Any apologies, Sandra or Alicia?
Yeah, just to say that Councillor Spencer is here as a substitute because we have one position on council, well, on planning committee for a new councillor. So once we have that new councillor, we'll have the full complement. But Councillor Spencer here now as the substitute for us this evening.
Okay, perfect. When do we think we're going to have that position filled?
Well, we're filling one vacancy, hopefully at the town council meeting coming up next week.
Tuesday.
Perfect. Okay. Declarations of interest. I assume that everybody's read the agenda pack and the auxiliary notes. And does anybody have any interest to declare?
No.
No, I can't see anybody or hear any.
Only regarding the angling club and the wharf.
Okay. Councillor Spencer, what point would that relate to?
The Riverside Park Angling Club.
Okay.
Sorry, no, that's for in the
That's-
Advisory Environment and Recreation Committee. Or are you talking?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. To receive the notes of the minutes of the meeting held 2021. I've had a chance to review. I'm sure everyone else has as well. Do we have any amendments or anything to change on those?
No, move they be signed.
No, please they be signed.
Seconded.
Okay.
To be clear, you're only noting them tonight. You're not actually signing because this is not a full committee with powers. It's only advisory.
Okay.
It's the equivalent of a working party.
Okay. Then 6, planning. So to consider the following planning application. 6.1 is copy on page 45, 21/00497/FUL. garage carport measures Thanet Road, Higham Ferrers. Oh, sorry. No, I've just skipped one already, haven't I? 6.1. What am I correcting here?
Is
Yeah, you're right.
VJ breaking up for anybody else, or is it just on?
Yeah. I
Yeah,
can't
it's
hear it
breaking
now.
up, yeah.
Okay, 1 second. 1 second. Let me come off my Wi-Fi and go onto my. Found a problem here.
Thought it was my computer, but I'm glad it isn't.
Right, I'm back. Is that any?
Better.
No,
That's better.
It's not better.
That's better.
that's
Okay.
better.
Yeah, that's better.
So 6.1.1 carport, Mary Stanek Road, Ferrers.
I can't hear you now, VJ.
Can't hear now.
Terrible. I'm not quite sure what's going on here. 1 second. Can you hear me now?
At the
Yeah.
moment, yeah.
Yeah, we can now.
Keep going.
1 second. Let me try.
Uh,
Right, is that better now? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I
better.
can hear you now.
Perfect. Sorry about that. Okay. So yes, for the third time then we'll discuss the triple garage. So it's a triple garage now. It's 9 cars. So it's the Measures Old Dairy and Stanek Road, Higham Ferrers, pages 6 and 7 in your agenda packs. Has anybody got anything to say on this one to start things off? Please, Councillor Gardner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Yeah, this is very much out of the way. It's already there, and I don't see any reason to object. I'd like to hear anybody else's comments.
Yeah, I agree with you, Angela. It's way out of the way. Nobody's going to see it. So, and obviously it's just providing some garage and carport space for the dwelling. So all seems to be in order.
Okay. Anybody else have anything to add?
No.
Councillor Brown.
I also agree with fellow councillors, Mr. Chairman, that it's just seems straightforward.
Perfect. Then can I go to the motion that we accept this or I don't know how we do this. Do we? Please, Councillor Gardner.
You asked for a proposal.
You asked for a proposal, and my proposal is, Mr. Chair, that we have no objections at all and no comments to make, and let this one go through, please.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You need to do a show of hands now on each one.
Can I have a show of hands for who's in favour? 1, 2, 3.
That's everybody.
Okay, that's everybody. Thank you. Okay, move on to 6.1.2, 2100559 FUL, conversion of the former band club to form 9 dwellings with external alterations to provide new windows, doors, and 10 off-street parking spaces. It's revised submission for the 20th/00090 FUL, 7 Wharf Road, Higham Ferrers, pages 8 to 14 in our agenda packs.
Councillor Paul, we do have the applicant here who may wish to speak on this one, and because this is a more informal committee, there is no reason why he can't speak at this stage.
By all means, would the applicant like to say something?
Yes, I would actually, if that's okay.
Please.
Okay, well, thank you very much for allowing me to speak for starters. It is a resubmission of the planning that we did last year. The reasons for this resubmission is the time taken to get to this point already with East Northants and the Section 106 agreements, and generally the costs along the way that I've had to endure because of this. I'm looking to take your comments on board from your previous comment of the original application, which you objected to, and hopefully I can just explain it a little bit and see if I can get you on board or see whether you like it or not. In your comments that you said that the units were crammed in, you said there was no disabled lift, no disabled access and no lift, and no amenity space and issues with the teachers parking. In relation to those comments, I mean, starting with where they've crammed in, a minimum space standards for a 1-bedroom flat is 37 square meters, but yet the smallest flat we have in this scheme is 44 square meters, then 45, 47, and all the rest are above 50. It might not sound a lot, those 7 square meters, but it actually equates to a small bedroom or 2 bathrooms approximately. So the smallest one is quite spacious and the rest get even bigger and bigger. We've tried to utilise the best use of the building with the windows and keeping the integrity of the building. So crammed in is probably not the best way to describe it, but a good use of the space is how we like to think of it. With no disabled access, the problem is the building sits a metre above the floor as it is. I mean, the front access steps lead straight down onto the pavement, so ramps, etc., would be very difficult to get within that sort of space and scope. I mean, huge costs as well, and a lift is not essential. It would be good, but we can't seem to get one in, which is a shame. The teachers' parking arrangement, that was actually a paid parking arrangement between the school and the club, which they didn't pay for in the last year, but that's by the by. But since the car park has been shut off, there doesn't seem to be a great impact on the street from residents and local people, and an issue with the teachers because they come and go at school times, which is not the usual busy times of 5 or 6 o'clock when people come home from work, etc. So it doesn't seem to be causing a lot of issues. With also on your comments, you said you'd like a reduction in the numbers and more amenity space. So we have reduced the numbers to 9 now. It's not a lot, but it is a reduction. And we've added some more amenity space and keeping the car parking spaces away from the building, as well as having sort of the green space close to the building, which is a bit more nice from car fumes and what have you as well. I'm not sure if you are aware, but I'm a local person. I live in the town and my children go to the school. I'm looking to keep this scheme and retain it. So the quality of the scheme is going to be of the utmost greatness. I want to keep the neighbours on side and the residents of the street. So I'm not looking to quickly run in, develop something and dash out. I want to rent the places out and be here for a long time and make sure it's good for years to come as well. It's a lovely looking building, to be fair. All the members have got transfer instantly to the Rushton Club who used to own the club. So their memberships are not lost, and it's not a loss of something around it, is a change of location, but they still have access to events and stuff going on. And the reality is it hasn't made any money as a club in the last 6-8 years or something like that, and it will shut if it wouldn't to change. And it would be a derelict building, which is going to be an eyesore. So it's a good regeneration of the building. It keeps the building in use, which is good as well. It gets rid of antisocial behaviour, which can always occur in derelict, empty buildings and car parks. So I hope this sort of helps with my intentions of what's going on with it. And if you've got any questions, fire away, please do.
Thank you very much for that.
Peter, may I ask a question?
Please, sorry, I can't have the full screen view here. Yes, please, Councillor Evie.
All right, thank you. I'm just looking at the building, which I did actually look at it tonight again. I can't see where all this wonderful soft landscaping is going. Have you got any plans for that?
I might be able to, if I could share my screen, I might be able to show you one actually, if that's possible.
Please.
So share screen, host disabled participant share screen. If the host can let me share a screen, that would be good. It says I'm not allowed to share screen at the moment.
That'll be down to Alicia. Is that something we can do, or?
Sandra's the host tonight. I don't know whether Sandra, you can change that easily.
I think it's just a setting somewhere. Yeah, hopefully.
The councillors have been circulated with some plans, so maybe if you could give us a plan reference, you might be able to.
Tina, if you look on slide 8, you can see
I've got it, but looking at the actual building, you know, I can't see where this is actually going to go because there doesn't seem to be. I can see slide 8, and I can see that there's soft landscaping down the side, which is on Milton Street, isn't it? And round the back, but I physically can't see that area where you're going to develop that.
I'm just going to try and print one off if I can't share the screen, just to show you. We've got it drawn up with some green areas based on it, and the parking spaces laid out. So I'll do that. I'll try and keep sharing while we're on as well, but no, it keeps on saying no. But obviously there's a question between how much parking is available compared to amenity space, which is always going to be the trade-off. And we've allowed 10 spaces within this scheme, which is at least one per bedroom, which should be more than enough. But we're happy to kind of bend and twist on this a little bit if it's going to help with a trade-off between amenity and a trade-off between the parking. And I don't know if you're going to be able to see this very well, but I'll try and show you. So if I offer that onto there.
I have actually got a copy of that.
You've
Dan.
got a copy. Oh, you have got that. Okay, so that's good.
But
Just a little bit of.
I can't physically see how you're going to. Are you actually going to dig up some?
Well, we can create within those spaces. We can create some raised bed areas and have some flowers or some planters in there. We could
so
also.
It's not actually shrubs and trees. It's like raised beds.
It's obviously a car park at the moment, but we can create some green space areas with shrubs and plants, or we can have a bench there as well, perhaps, and just create more of a nicer area.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
Sorry, that's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions?
VJ, if possible,
yes,
can I, please?
Yes, please. Councillor Gardner, go ahead.
Thank you. Hello, Dan. We spoke first time around. I don't know if you remember. So firstly, thank you for taking on board the comments that we made first time around. And I can see that you've taken them on board and related them to the plans that we see in front of us. With the soft landscaping at the back, please forgive me if I'm wrong, the way I'm reading it is because at the moment, it was at the back of the building, there was the fire escape and it came out and it was the complete hard standing for all of the car park right up to the back of the building. To create any soft landscaping, you're going to have to either do artificially raised beds, and that would be in line with the refuse area and the recycling stores to keep that. And also at the side, as you go down to Milton Street with then the building on your left, you've got that small slither of a space, haven't you? That with the coping stones on top. So are you looking to try and create something along those lines, being mindful, because I work as well with the police liaison. One of the things that I'm thinking about is that the anti-vandalism point of view. Trees, shrubs, and anything they can get their hands on, they will dig up and they will throw. So that's part of the course.
Yes.
So I like the idea of the recycling store that's lockable and that's safe. So that for me is a big thing. But for the soft landscaping, having that as a raised area and not digging down, I think is the only way you're going to create that. Is that kind of what you were thinking, the way you were going with it?
Yeah, and I think that's the best way and the easiest way to do it. The little sliver that you say about is hidden behind the dwarf 4-foot wall, which creates a nice little barrier. It is. I think it's almost higher from the pavement side than it is on the inside as well. So it creates a bit of a height barrier, which is better for that area. But then a raised bed area is just going to be the nicest thing. I'm happy to talk with you again if you want to go through what would be nice and what wouldn't be nice. We're open to ideas of what people would want and what would be more attractive. And as you say, it's a bit of a balance between not making it too attractive for antisocial behaviour for teenagers to want to come and sit at the weekend, but then also for a family or a young family or a single mum with a child that might want to come and sit there in the summertime herself. So it's a balance, and I'm happy to negotiate that and move forward with it and change things up as we go as well. If we find we don't like it, we can change it. It's just to make it a bit more of a nicer space and look a bit nicer as well. A bit of green always helps, doesn't it, in a car park? So
Thank you.
Okay. Pam, I saw your hand up a while ago. Yes, please. Councillor Whiting.
Thank you. I'd like to echo what Angela's just said, and thank you, Dan, for taking on board the points that we raised before. I've been round past the club 2 or 3 times, and I think it's beginning to look better already. And also, I agree with your comments about the parking. I've been around there during school time. I can't really see that the loss of that car park is actually making an awful lot of difference. You know, I'm quite happy with that. But I do remember tuning into the East Northants planning application when it came up there. And there was a great deal said there about the car park and cars being parked right up against the wall underneath the bedroom window. And I know one or two people there did make quite a lot of fuss, and I will say fuss, and I know who it was, about car fumes going up and going into bedroom windows.
Yes.
So if you are going to sort of green area that little bit, you know, I'd like to think you'd keep that in mind.
Yeah, well, and that was really one of the comments from their side as well. Like I say, keeping the cars on the other side of the car park away from the building, mitigates that fumes. And you're right, there was a bit of a to-do, should we say, about having cars and not having cars. I think it was about a 10-minute fight over more parking or less parking, and they end up choosing more parking in the end. But once again, we'll go back through and we'll see what they want to say. It should be a different round this time with all the elections and different people involved in it, and we'll see what they say next time. But I'll be mindful to try and put that forward, and your thoughts of that, because obviously you are the parish and they're just the decision makers in the end. Yes.
Right, okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Do any other councillors have any questions for the applicant or anything generally they'd like to speak to about this application? In that order, Councillor Gary Salmon, and then followed by you closely, Barry. I'll come back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say, I mean, this is the first committee meeting I've sat on this. I'm looking at this. I've been watching the band, the old band who will be developed over the last few weeks. Having spent many an hour over the last 4 or 5 years standing in this area waiting for children to come in and out of school, both at start and beginning of day, and just a bit of a recollection back several years ago when we lost the traffic crossing guard, that junction there, that little square of roadway there, is one of the busiest in the county, I was told at the time, and this was a few years ago. And I have to say, I don't agree that the rush hour is at 6 o'clock in the evening. It's not. The rush hour is at about 3:30 when the schools are coming in and out and the teachers are coming in and out. It is a really busy stretch. Parking is going to be a problem. I see it every single day I'm there. I think 10 spaces is a bit tight for 9 bedrooms. I think that's just one, and it's not 9 bedrooms actually, is it? I think there's two bedrooms in there, so it's more than that. So there's like 12 or 13 bedrooms, I think, and that doesn't seem a lot to me. But the teachers, I know some of them live just around where I live here in the Larkin Gardens area. They're driving, they're not walking. So there is a real problem with parking there, and I see it every day. If you just stand there for a few hours, you'll see people parking on double yellow lines. You'll see people parking on the hatched area, dropping off children to school because they don't want them to walk for whatever reason. So I think there is something to consider about parking, number of parking slots, and I think there is something to consider about potentially managing the way that people parking in that area. That's just my thoughts on at the moment. I know I'm just joined the committee, but that is something that's very close to this area, particularly as I've seen builders' lorries, I've seen everything go down there, whilst the other development was further on down the street was taking place. And it is a concern. I am concerned about the parking in that area because of the number of children that are wandering around.
Yeah, it's good points raised. It is. I mean, when I said about the busy times, I mean, so in normal times, avoiding COVID, lots of people go to work at 8 o'clock and they come home at 5 o'clock. So that's when cars leave the street and that's when cars arrive in the street. That's how I meant. Obviously, the car park, I mean, obviously the teachers, the students, get dropped off about 9 o'clock and they leave at 3 o'clock. So that's a very busy, frantic 15, 20 minutes at those periods of times. But the teachers come and park. They normally come and park just after 8 o'clock, 8:15. I'm there quite a lot, and I noticed when they do come and go, and I know quite a lot of the teachers myself as well. But generally they leave about 4 o'clock as well. So what I was meaning is is when people go to work at 8 o'clock and teachers arrive at 8:30, and then teachers leave at 4 and people come home at 5, the people that are parking for a longevity period on the street is marginally unaffected. But yes, you're always going to get 100 different cars pull up and drop children off at those 9 o'clock and 3 o'clock times, which is unavoidable and quite frankly, though it's difficult. I have been trying to help the school with their parking arrangements for a long time throughout this process. We was in talks with the Working Man's Club around the corner, which they were not interested in taking on any parking arrangement. And then also we've mentioned about the little slip road by the infant school, which we said to, they block off this little road now because of incidents with parents turning and just reversing and willy-nilly and all the rest of it. And there's been some near misses. But I did suggest that why don't you let the teachers all park down there in a row? That leads to the parking around the infant school around the back. But I said, why don't you let the teachers all park down there in a row and then block it off at 8:15, 8:30 when all the teachers are there, which would gain them another 10 spaces, let's say, and then that would be shut off. But they obviously haven't took it on board yet either. But I can only make more suggestions, and the school have to make their decisions as they go. I'm still in talks with the business manager of the school, and we still try to resolve things as we go. But we haven't noticed an issue or any issues around what we're having done and with the car park blocked off at now, and we don't get any heckling from the teachers, let's say, in the mornings either. So I think we're doing all right for now.
Okay, Councillor Spencer, you had your hand up a moment ago.
Thank you, BJ. Good evening, Dan. Just a thought. Going back some years, I was vice president of the band club in the good days when it was profitable. The disabled access you commented on has always been a problem there. And obviously the front entrance is impossible because the short distance down to the street, the angle would be ridiculous. So it's obvious. But there would be no reason on the side door that if you put something like a 1.5 metre square slab outside the side door, so you could spin a wheelchair on it and then take a nice gradual slope down parallel to the path to the car park. You could disabled access there very easily.
It's true, you probably could squeeze one in on that way. I wouldn't, well, we've been advised not to try and create a disabled rope, sloped access on the back because of the car park setup. But on the side, you're probably right. We've not calculated it as to the gradients and the distance, but as you know, it's quite a few steps up, 6 or 7, let's say. We do have to got a balance of where, like I say, the bin store is and things like that as well. It's something I'll put towards the architect and see what he can look at.
You'd obviously need a handrail around the top slab and everything. But
yeah, that's it. Yeah, leading all the way up. It's something we can look at.
But just a thought for you.
It would only be to one flat, so we couldn't promote it as everything. That's only an entrance into one. It's not an entrance into the entire building, as the proposal will be. But it's a good thought, and we'll take that comment on board. Yeah.
Dan, just moving on from Councillor Barry Spencer's comment there, if there were to be disabled access, would you then have to rejig the size of your doors on the layout? Because it looks like they are, I mean, look, they are what they are. They're 1-bedroom flats at 26.2 square metres, living space. I'm looking at the bedroom. So roughly about 44 square metres is the smallest one, I believe.
44, yeah. That's right. On that one,
would that be,
if you're going to change the for a disabled access, you'd have to change the width of the doors.
Yeah.
So without looking at it, I wouldn't know, but I'd assume that door width won't be sufficient. So you'd have to create a bigger opening in the building instantly to go into that flat. Everything's possible, but whether it's viable or not is a different matter. Yeah.
VJ, can I speak? Right.
Please, yes. Councillor Reevy.
Right, thank you. I'd just like to say that thank you very much for changing the plans for us. The actual comments that we're making on the parking for the school, for the parents, whatever, has got nothing to do with the planning permission for this particular building. Therefore, I would like to say thank you for changing the planning for the building to listening to what we'd said before. And can I now propose that we make no comment or objections to this planning permission?
I'm happy to second that.
Can I just also add that, please, could you just make sure that the delivery of materials is out of school hours, which is what we'd asked for initially.
That was agreed before, and yeah, happy to stick to that arrangement. To be fair, it makes sense. And any deliveries we have, the best advice is avoid school hours because you will not like it. Because
so the proposal's been seconded, hasn't it? by Councillor Whiting?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes. Can I ask for a vote of everyone in favour?
that's
That
unanimous.
looks like it's unanimous. Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
Dan.
very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you, Dan.
Okay, point 321/00647 FUL. The change of use from residential to osteopathic, physiotherapy and sports therapy clinic with 6 treatment consulting rooms, a waiting room and existing kitchen as a staff room. 11 Market Square, Higham Ferrers. Should be pages 15 to 20 in our packs. Who wants to start us off on this one? Because I think this is going to be quite a long one.
DJ?
Please. 1 second. I can hear you, but I can't see you. Councillor Gardner.
Councillor Garner. I don't know which one was good, to hear or to be seen. Okay, so what I note here is I'm really pleased about is the conversations that they are having, the Ashgrove Clinic, that they are having with the Green Dragon reparking, and to use that space at the back of the Green Dragon for staff to have a more permanent car parking, which then will alleviate the Market Square. So that's a really good conversation, and I'm glad that's taking place, because I think that will go a long way to not only keeping a business inside Higham, because I don't really like the thought of losing this business, also bringing business back into the centre of Higham, which is what we want to do. We want to generate that on our high street, whilst not clogging up the car parking, because no matter what application we're going to get, no matter what it is, car parking is always going to be there. It's always going to have that issue attached to it. So for them to start the conversation to think about alleviating that in the first instance, I think is an absolute good thing and a bonus. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Gardner. Councillor Reevy.
Thank you, Councillor Paul. We actually made no objections last time, did we? Other than we wanted them to be aware that the car park wasn't for their solitary use. Sandra, have they had any comments when we've said to them, you know, that the car park will be closed on a Saturday, last Saturday of the month for the market, and also that it is closed at other times of the year? For instance, like for the Christmas Sparkle, have we had any feedback on that?
That's just Alicia answers this one, because she
Alicia.
the papers.
No, that's fine. The applicant hasn't come directly back to us, but I did read that the applicant said that they, I think I've got this right, don't propose to operate on Saturdays normally, so therefore the Saturday issue wasn't really an issue.
Yeah.
Right.
And they noted about the Christmas Sparkle, and they noted about Remembrance, but again, they're not proposing to be open on the Sunday. So they did note those comments, but said a lot of the times that we were looking to use the Market Square were when they wouldn't be running the practice.
Yeah, I mean, they've always been very supportive of the Sparkle, so they would know that we close the Market Square off.
Absolutely.
Okay, right, thank you.
Pam, I think you had your hand up as well.
Well, I was only going to virtually say the same thing. I'm just pleased to see that they have taken the responsibility regarding parking, because that was the only issue that we really came up with last time. They've since put an application in to make the clinic at the moment back to residential, which I see has been passed. So I'd like to propose that we raise no objection to this. You know, I think it's going to be a good thing to see it into the Market Square. It's a business we badly need.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Second that. Oh, Duo.
Shall we have a vote on that then, please?
Absolutely.
Unanimously carried again. Okay, bringing us to point 4, 21/00623 LBC, to replace ×2 front shop windows, ground level, like-for-like size and area with sash opening. 2 Market Square, Higham Ferrers. Copy within, pages 21 to 25. Who wants to start us off on this one?
Councillor Brown's got his hand up and Councillor Whiting, Bija.
Councillor Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sorry, Nigel, you can come in
That's all right, Pam,
directly
that's all
after
right.
me.
That's all right.
I just want to ask a question. Following all the conservation rules and regulations, are they allowed to use UPVC?
PVC, yeah. Mhm.
I thought it had to be wood.
I looked on the East Northants Council website today, well, the North Northants one now, and there weren't any comments that have been submitted by the Conservation Officer at this point in time. So I can't really comment on that, but I know
Lloyd was very stuck on that sort of thing. You know, UPVC in a conservation area, it didn't go.
Yeah.
No, if it's UPVC in a conservation area, from previous experience, I was forced to use wood, and it had to be integrated into the stone mullions as well. So anything that protrudes out for more than the original window frame won't be accepted.
Right. Okay.
Can you remember?
Nigel, please go ahead. Sorry, Tina.
I was just saying, can you remember what Snowdon Homes were doing next door? Because they're replacing the windows, because they're not having bow windows anymore. They are going to replace them with the flat ones.
I think that is wood.
That is wood.
That's wood, and so's the other one that we gave the permission for as well. If you go along that way, making it, it's all come through as wood. That was my surprise. I'm surprised the conversation officer, him as well, hasn't said anything. Because normally UVPC on that wouldn't. I am surprised at that.
Please.
Sorry, there's still a bit of consultation time left on this application, so the Conservation Officer may well raise that. Just because a comment's not been lodged at the moment doesn't mean that there might not be one lodged after the meeting before the application closes consultation.
So if we look at page 24, are they planning on using timber replica upgrades and the optional dummy mullions in parallel to make it look like it's adhering to the conservation without actually adhering to conservation?
Yeah.
Okay. So it all comes down to materials rather than aesthetics.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Nigel wanted to come in at one point. He's going to follow me.
Sorry, Nigel, please carry on.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Well, I think I was going to ask the same question as Pam. Actually, my answers have been answered.
Can I just ask then, Alicia, if the officer still has time to come back and comment, would not it be wise then to hold off on this and wait for a comment? I wouldn't like to, because obviously it's their expertise that we're going to be relying on to keep this running as a full market square. Because if the others are all wood, then surely it just stands to reason that in such a historic part of the town, we need to be in keeping.
Perhaps because it is an advisory committee, obviously we hear the comments that you make, so we can respond accordingly based on the response, the comment that comes through from the Conservation Officer, if you're happy with that. So am I right in thinking that if the Conservation Officer is recommending wood, then you would support that? If the Conservation Officer thinks that the UPVC is acceptable, is that okay with you, or would you still want to see wood even if the Conservation Officer is saying that the UPVC is acceptable?
Well, I think if the conservation manager, if it's still Lloyd, I know he's very much against UPVC, as I've said, but I think really we're going to have to go with what he recommends. If he says UPVC is fine, then I think we're going to have to go with it, but we would prefer that it's wood to go along with everything else.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Okay, so has someone got a proposal to make?
Yeah, I'm happy to propose that we recommend that, you know, being that it's a conservation area, we have got to be guided by the Conservation Officer. And if he thinks UPVC is out of place, then you know, we'll go along with that. We would much prefer to keep everything standard along past the Market Square. Bit winded, but
Okay.
okay.
Yeah.
Is there
I'm happy,
anyone there
happy
to second?
Yeah, happy
Yeah.
to second that, VJ.
Perfect. Then can I ask for a show of hands? 2, 3. Okay, passed unanimously again, I believe. Okay, brings us to 6.2, to note determinations on planning applications, page is 26. Am I just to read these out? Okay, so notifications of planning decisions received from the Town Council on the 18th of May 2021. Application 01517 FUL, single story rear kitchen extension at 32 Larkhill Gardens, Higham Ferrers.
Larkin Gardens. There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry?
Larkin Gardens.
What did I say?
Larkhill.
Oh, did I? Sorry.
You're across the road.
Larkin Gardens. Do we discuss these, or is it just for me to read them out?
If it's any help, VJ, and any guidance, I just say planning permission given. You've all read the following.
Yeah.
Because they're
Okay.
a tough crowd, these lot, VJ. They're a tough crowd.
Yeah, they're not really giving me much to work with tonight.
Oh.
Okay. So I'll move on to the second one. So 21/00392 FUL, change of use from mixed residential osteopathic practice to residential only, with no changes to the building at the Ashgrove Clinic, 13 Lancaster Street, Higham Ferrers. Has anybody got any questions or anything to add on either of those two applications?
All noted.
All
No,
noted.
all noted.
Perfect. Perfect. So there we have, sorry, number 7, items to report. An opportunity for members of the committee to report items. No decisions can be made under this item. Does anybody have anything they wish to raise?
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
Can't see any hands going up.
No.
Okay, so the date of the next meeting is 22nd of June, 2021. Does that work for everybody?
Fantastic.
We might
I
be
didn't realise.
free.
So it wasn't it wasn't optional then.
No.
No.
Option.
Perfect. Okay. So,
You agreed all the meetings last night, VJ.
Oh yes, of course, of course. I made a mental note of all the dates.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay then, super. Thank you very much for coaxing me through my first meeting. Do we have to do a formal sign off, Angela, or is that it done?
No, you just say thank you and sling
Thank you
it
for attending.
Thank you very much for attending.